Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another collection reset for 2026. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favourite labels, even though they are a bit ridiculous, and that's Umbrella Entertainment from Australia. So I'm going to go through the titles that I have. Again, I've moved on from some of them, but this video is also going to include a recent haul I got from Umbrella, as they were stupid enough to do a collector's edition 40% off sale, and I did go a little bit mad. What was I supposed to do? Because, you know, even if you don't like these releases, you can use them as doorstops, or if times are really rough, you can actually build a house out of the collector's editions from Umbrella Entertainment. So I'm going to go through, they have different little labels, so I'm going to go through the Sunburnt Screens, and then Beyond Genre labels, some various odds and ends, and then some slipcover editions of the Umbrella releases, and then the collector's editions, and then the purchases that I made in the recent sale. I don't know whether the collector's edition sale is still on or not. Obviously it's better to go over a certain threshold to get free shipping, but they are really quick in shipping stuff out. It comes pretty quickly from Australia, and it's packaged really well. They do a great job of bubble wrap, and even though I am not sponsored by Umbrella, they do a really good job. So let's start, because there's a little bit to get through. So the Sunburnt Screens is an interesting little line. These are numbered, and these are kind of sort of legacy Australian films, kind of classics, but also ones that haven't really been seen outside of Australia too much. Obviously one of the more famous ones is Breaker Morant, of course, directed by Bruce Beresford, with Edward Woodward and Jack Thompson and Brian Brown. You know, lots of Australian icons, and this is quite wonderful. And then the next one is Malcolm by Nadia Tess. Great performance by Colin Friels as a man who's kind of trapped in his childhood a little bit, has these little toys, and then some low-level criminals come to stay after his mother dies, and he gets involved in a scheme. It's just quite a beautiful little film. And then a film I did a random review on, this is Black and White, about a true case of Aboriginal abuse. Great turns of Robert Carlyle, Charles Dance, Kerry Fox, and Ben Mendelsohn as somebody called Rupert Murdoch. Back in the days where Murdoch ran newspapers in Australia. Then another one that's quite famous, Deborah Lee Furness in Shame. This is a wonderful film about a lawyer that comes into town and tries to put an end to the sexual violence that seems to be commonplace in the town. Yeah, just awesome film. I think this is available on one of the Vinegar Syndrome, well, when they did Umbrella releasing. Next is Sam Neill and Death in Brunswick. Again, this is available in Vinegar Syndrome as well. This is a lot of fun. It's a neo-noir, but an Australian neo-noir, so it's got like a flat tire, and Sam Neill is just absolutely fantastic in it. And then they do Beyond Genres. Again, this is a numbered label. So of course I've got The Beast, Valerian Borowicz, which is just absolutely wonderful. Based on true story, of course. Not really, but superb. And of course I've got another edition of Crash. Why not? It's Crash after all. And then without a slipcover, Razorback, the classic Australian outback film. Again, all of these are region free pretty much, which is a great thing about Umbrella releases. And then we have Ozploitation Classics line. So this is Patrick and Patrick Still Lives. Indicator released Patrick a couple of years ago. You know, the original has Robert Helpman as the mad scientist, and the remake has Charles Dance, or the sequel, sorry, has Charles Dance. Can't go wrong with that. That's Patrick and Patrick Still Lives. And then one of my favourite watches of last year, I believe, Long Weekend. This is fantastic. Not what I thought it was, but it's just absolutely wonderful. And in this edition you get the soundtrack as well. Yeah, this edition's absolutely stuffed. If you haven't seen Long Weekend, I would highly recommend it. And then they've also got a World Cinema line, and until I save up for the Criterion 4K, Jean de Florette and Man de Source. Again, if you watch my collaboration with Steve for Films, this was in my top 10 watches of last year. Just a stunning film, even though it's really two films, but it's one story. Yeah, this is spectacular. Then a couple of just odd Umbrella releases. Hudsucker Proxy by the Coens. Again, you've got the U on the spine. Really underrated. It's basically a Capra homage. And then Peter Weir's The Last Wave on 4K and Blu-ray, Richard Chamberlain, which is a beautiful little film, as we all know. So that's the kind of random little labels that they have. So we'll go on to the slipcover releases. So another edition of A Bittersweet Life. A Bittersweet Life's almost, well, not quite to the level of The Thing, but I do have quite a few editions of A Bittersweet Life for some reason. Because I love the film, that might be one of the reasons. There's the iconic cover. And Richard Burton, in a version of Bluebeard, which is demands to be seen when you look at the female cast. You get Raquel Welch, Karen Schubert, Sybil Danning, and Nathalie Delon, Verna Lisi, Marilo Tullo, and Agostina Belli. And of course you've got Richard Burton hamming it up quite spectacularly. What is not to like? You get commentaries. You get a piece with Kim Newman about Burton and Taylor exploitation stars. There's a Richard Burton exploitation trailer reel. Yeah, it's a lovely little film. You can watch this with Chabrol's Bluebeard, and a wonderful double feature. There's a huge edition of this. We can talk about bricks, but this is the slipcover edition of Caligula, the ultimate cut, on 4K. So as you'd expect with Caligula, This is a 4-disc edition. So this has how many cuts? The ultimate cut on 4K, the ultimate cut on Blu-ray, the uncensored cut, you know what that means, the Italian cut, the Australian cut, the pre-release cut. So what's that? About 5 different cuts. So 173 minutes is the ultimate cut. 156 minutes is the unrated uncensored cut. The Italian cut is 124 minutes. The Australian cut is 102 minutes. And the pre-release cut is 153 minutes. There's commentaries, visual essays. So that's a whole bunch of Caligula. If you cut out the naughty bits, it is actually a fascinating little film. Obviously it has its reputation for naughty bits. If you're casting Dr. Crippen, why wouldn't you cast Donald Pleasence? Even though you could argue he's not the real monster, because Coral Brown gives a terrifying performance as his wife. You almost feel sorry for him. Samantha Eggar's in it as well. Jonathan Rigby does a commentary with Kevin Lyons, and Kim Newman again does a piece. That's Dr. Crippen, black and white, Donald Pleasence. What more can you ask for? The 4K of Eyes Without a Face. Les Yeux Sans Visage, Georges Franchot. It's great that Radiance have announced La Tetra Contre Mur, or Head Against the Wall, Franchot's debut on Blu-ray, which has been a long time coming. There's Pierre Brasseur, goes with Alida Valli and Edith Scobe. Just a classic, and it's wonderful having it in 4K. Again, these editions are limited, because they'll do a collector's edition and then they'll do a slipcover edition. And then Next Hardware, again this is a big brick, but this is a slipcover edition, and this is on 4K as well. And again this is another fun little Richard Stanley film. They also have Dust Devil, which I haven't got yet, but again Dust Devil's available as well in a massive brick. JSA in 4K. Of course, after JSA on 4K, again I've got a few editions of this as well. This is the 4K and Blu-ray, and of course the Blu-ray is multi-region, which is wonderful. And then Pulse, and this is on 4K as well, 4K and Blu-ray. I believe this is available in 4K elsewhere. It is on Eureka Masses Cinema, I think. For more Kiyoshi Kurosawa goodness. Then Sean Connery in Ransom. I did have this in Network, but I couldn't resist, because I think this was in a sale as well at one point. Sean Connery is a Swedish hostage negotiator, of course, and of course he plays it with his famous Swedish twang that he has. Co-starring Ian McShane, who has literally been around almost as long as cinema has, it seems. And then Time Crimes. I do regret not getting the collector's edition of Time Crimes, which is now out of print, because it's a lovely pink box. This is now on 4K with Vinegar Syndrome, but I'm not going to bother getting the 4K. That would be that would be a bit ridiculous. But Time Crimes, it's a lovely little film. So that's slipcover editions. So let's go to the collector's editions, and again, yes, I'm an idiot for having these, but again, I can build a small house out of them. So Takashi Miike's The Agitator, which is coming out on Radiance in their Miike box set in a couple of weeks, in March. And with the collector's editions, you get the unbelievably hard box. You get the booklet, or in some cases books, as you'll see. You get art cards, of course, and you get the J card essentially. So this one's like 411 out of 750. And you then basically get the slipcover edition. So I mean, they put in so much work in these editions. Yes, they're pricey, and that's why you're better off waiting for a sale, so you can go mad. What was I supposed to do? Yeah, there's The Agitator, and this is 100 and, yeah, there's two cuts. There's the extended cut, which is 193 minutes, and the theatrical, which is 150. So that's The Agitator, which is an underrated Miike. And then we have Angst on 4K, no doubt, no less. And again, this would be the slipcover, which is quite lovely, and a big booklet and art cards, etc, etc. There is something quite nice about holding a collector's edition in your hand. Again, you feel like you could do some damage. Now, I think the first collector's edition I ever got from Umbrella was Audition, another Miike classic. And again, this of course is available on the slipcover edition. Beautiful artwork. Yeah, the artwork in some of these are quite beautiful as well. You certainly don't get that on streaming. Audition. And then one of the most ridiculous collector's edition by Umbrella, The Black Sheep Wool. Yep, it's completely daft, but it's comfortable at night. And then these are one of the hardback books that you get. Some of the editions, essays, glossy pictures, just wonderful. Black Sheep's such a fun little film. And again, there's the slipcover edition with the spot gloss on the eyes. Oh yeah, and this is in 4K, because obviously we needed Black Sheep in 4K. But again, the great thing about Umbrella, they put in a Blu-ray as well, unlike certain other companies we could mention, Arrow Video. So it really gives you great scheme diversity, scheme flexibility. So there's the Hairy Wool Black Sheep edition. Yes, it's ridiculous. Boiling Point, but not the Takeshi Kitano, the Viggo Mortensen, Wesley Snipes, Dennis Hopper. It's funny that Wesley Snipes isn't actually on the outside box, even though theoretically he's the star. There he is. This is a fun little film. Not great by any stretch of imagination, but fun and early Viggo Mortensen. Then a film that I just had on DVD for a while, and then the collector's edition. It's funny with Umbrella, sometimes the collector's edition go out of print and then they magically appear in a sale at some point. So this is The Chaser, which is a wonderful Korean film about a pimp who ends up getting involved with a serial killer because he murders one of his prostitutes. And we all know pimps are the only ones that are allowed to murder the prostitutes. not somebody else. That's Chaser. And again, I had no reason to buy this, but apart from I just love it. And this was one of the collector's editions that went out of print and then magically reappeared. It's Pam Grier and coffee. How can you resist Pam Grier and coffee? Even though if I get the Blaxploitation 4K set volume 2, coffee is in that, but I'll still keep coffee. The Umbrella edition, because you can never have enough coffee. And then Christopher Smith, I think 4 of his films got collector's editions. I only have 3 of them. I won't be getting Black Death because of Sean Bean. But here's Creep, which is a lovely little film. I like the fact they've done the kind of fatigue on the box. With Famke Potemkin in the subway. It's a lovely little film, full of lovely little people doing not so lovely things to people. And then a film you would never think would get a collector's edition, Cypher with Lucy Liu and that guy that I can never remember what his name is, Jeremy Northam? Jeremy Northam. And this is a 4K, let alone a collector's edition. It's a 4K collector's edition of Cypher. What is the world coming to? And then another 4K, a lovely brick for Daybreakers with Sam Neill and Willem Dafoe. Nice little vampire film. Excuse me. And again, for this one, you do get a big hardback book as well, with art, essays, and lots of lovely stuff. Again, buying these at full price probably isn't a good idea. Best to wait for a sale. Obviously some of them will go out of print, but you can get them on eBay sometimes really expensively, or as I said, they sometimes come back around. I mean, one that sold out really quickly and goes for silly money is Tarsem Singh's The Fall. Again, this is a 4K and looks absolutely gorgeous. It's a film made for 4K, and again this has a hardback book in it. I mean, there is one seller, so again 4K and Blu-ray, there is one seller that has this for £800 on their page in eBay. Don't think that's ever going to get sold because other people have it for like 70 or whatever. But nice try, you've got to try. And then one that I did have to buy full price, even though it would probably never sell out, but I just had to have it, and that's Le Faux Follet and Balou Mal with Maurice René. Again, I did a video on the channel. Beautiful film about ending it all. I just love the green, the dark green in that is quite lovely for a lovely film. Now these are completely ridiculous, but I got both of these fairly cheaply on eBay, and that's my excuse. It's the Full Moon Fright Box Volume 1. Again, there's something, I don't know, Charles Band films are not great films, let's be honest, but there's something, I mean, I would say Roger Corman is slightly above Charles Band, but there's something just quite comforting about Charles Band films. And these come with lovely slipcovers. You've got Dollman versus Demonic Toys. Yep, you know what kind of films these are. The original Doll Man with Tim Thomerson, who of course did Trancers for Full Moon as well. Demonic Toys. Sorry. Oh, Demonic Toys 2, sorry, and Demonic Toys. Again, there's a book in there as well. Again, films that probably don't deserve this kind of treatment, but it's also kind of wonderful that they get this kind of treatment. And of course, I did pick up volume 2. There is a volume 3 as well, which I may accidentally pick up in another sale. It's not on, it wasn't on the current sale because it is relatively new. But this is volume 2. Again, films that don't really deserve this kind of treatment, but there's something kind of nice about them as well. So we've got Puppet Master. Yes, I am in the minority, I don't care. Shadow Zone. Seed People. And of course, Sorority Babes in the Slime Bolorama with Linnea Quigley. Again, it's just something reassuring. You know, the world is a dangerous and scary place, but there's something comforting about watching not very good Charles Band films. And then another corker of a release, which I just had on a German Blu-ray, which is obviously enough, but I'm stupid. This is Ixie Ixie, or Goodnight Mommy, with lovely cockroaches in the back. Yeah, this is a fantastic film about two twins, two twin boys who live out in the country. Their mother comes back from surgery and they're convinced that she's not their mother. Just a beautiful, atmospheric little film. From an Australian company, an Australian film. This is available on Arrow Video as well. This is Hounds of Love, with lovely 70s wallpaper. Based on a true story, well, maybe the 80s in actual fact. Based on a true story in the 80s of a couple who kidnapped a young woman. Lovely. And then again, another one that I had to buy full price. It's not my fault. One of the most underrated films of the 21st century for me. This is Intacto from Spain. All about luck. Co-stars the wonderful Max von Sydow. Yeah, it's just a beautiful little film. Again, there's the slipcover, which you would get if you just buy the slipcover edition. Yeah, lots of Russian roulette and running through forests blindfolded. Tremendous little film. And then one that I did have on 88 Slasher collection, 88 films, but this is just such a lovely addition, and it's a fun little slasher. This is Intruder, which has a really interesting ending, which most slashers don't have. It's got some really nice kills and gore effects. Yeah, it's just a lovely little film, even though it's obviously not a lovely little film, but it's a lovely little film nonetheless. When I say a lovely little film, it doesn't actually mean that it's a lovely little film. And then there's a volume 2 of this, which I might accidentally get in another sale. This is Kiwi Cult. So this is films from New Zealand, not surprisingly. And again, these aren't great, but they like to support New Zealand for some reason. Perfect Creature. And this has Dougray Scott, Saffron Burrows. And again, it's a vampire riff. Then we have Under the Mountain with Sam Neill, which I believe is based on very popular books in New Zealand. It's more of a kind of kids film or PG-13 film. It's got Sam Neill in it, that's all you need to know. And then Demons, you might recognise him, it's Karl Urban, another Hollywood star who's not from America. So overall, kind of 3 out of 5 films, but again they have a charm because they're New Zealand. And then one of my favourite films, I maybe just have a thing about films about love dolls, as you know, Corey Ida's favourite film for me is Air Doll, and here's Lars and the Real Girl. Ryan Gosling's might be his best performance outside of the Nice Guys. Yeah, this is just wonderful again. It's a little bit more mature than what you might think. It's really about kind of loss and trauma and mental illness. Yeah, it's just a massive love doll in it. And then we have the New Extremity Collection Volume 1. There is a Volume 2, which you may not or may be seeing quite soon. Again, this has a lovely hardback book. As you can see, the box, it's a proper brick. So we've got High Tension, which I do have on Second Sight 4K, but you always need another edition. Then we get Frontiers, which I have on Second Sight Blu-ray. But you like to have Scheme Diversity. Martyrs, which I have on Eureka 4K, but you always need some scheme versatility. And Anatomy of Hell, which is naughty and rude, which I don't have on any other edition. That's the New Extremity. I love the silver and black, obviously, but these are proper bricks. You can build a semi-detached house out of that. Then moving on, again, just the whole kind of range of Umbrella. This is the Lee Chang-dong box set, which is still available, because strange enough, Korean art house cinema perhaps isn't as popular as it should be. So this is Peppermint Candy, Oasis and Poetry. Vinegar Syndrome do have one, which has his first feature on it as well. So everybody's different. I know, for example, Bulgarian Troglodyte, his favourite is probably Oasis out of these ones. My favourite's Poetry, and there's Peppermint Candy, Oasis, and Poetry, which I absolutely love. So that's Lee Chang-dong, which I would highly recommend. Out of all of these, this might be the one that I maybe recommend the most. You can get your hands on it. Then we've got Open Your Eyes, which I had never seen. Obviously Tom Cruise remade it with Penelope Cruz and Vanilla Sky. This is the original, so obviously makes it better because it's Spanish. Again, that's the slipcover edition. Obviously you get a booklet as well. Open Your Eyes. And then Shane Carruth Primer gets a lovely collector's edition, which it completely deserves. Again, that's the nice slipcover. That's Primer. And then I love the little shark film, The Reef. One bite is all it takes, apparently. Based on a true story, apparently. As 5 people get cast adrift. Some of them decide to stay with their boat, others try and swim for it, with hilarious consequences. Next, another one that I think I had to purchase quickly just in case it went out of print. The Resurrection of the Golden Wolf, of course. This is a Sonny Chiba and Matsuda Yakuga. Sorry, Matsuda Yusaku, even, which is a lot of fun. Again, beautiful edition. In The Quiet Family, Kim Ji-woon, which was remade as The Happiness of Kasakuris. There's a zombie musical version by Takashi Miike, but this is the original with Choi Min-sik and other iconic Korean actors. That was another one that I kind of had to get. Again, this one was on sale, not this sale, but the last sale. This is another brick. The Raid on 4K. Again, beautiful edition that you probably could brain somebody to death with. Again, you get a graphic novel if the film's not graphic enough. You get behind the scenes. And look at that, you even get the film. What will they think of next? These physical media companies actually putting the film in as well. And another Christopher Smith, maybe in Australia he's looked at as being an auteur or something. This is Severance, which has since got a 4K, but obviously I'm not really bothered about the 4K. This is a fun little film, and for trivia, this is the only Danny Dyer film that I have in the collection. Severance. And then this one's absolutely beautiful as well. The Thai horror collection, and the artwork in this is absolutely beautiful. And you also get the films. So you get essays and art. And look at the size of that book. Again, this is another one you could probably do some damage to somebody with. So this is Coming Soon, Lada Land, Countdown, and The Promise, and Dorm, Alone, Phobia, and Phobia 2. So you get 8 films in this set, plus a book that you can give somebody a concussion with. And they're all lovely little films. A film that I saw years ago, but this is it again. This is not the spider, so the ant film. This is Them, the French home invasion film. Again, beautiful red that really pops. Them, there's a couple that are terrorised. It's just simple, pared down, wonderful little film. And again, this is another one that I just had to get because I've loved this film since I saw it on Tartan DVD. I think I had it. I never had a Blu-ray before this. And this is Thesis. My favourite film about snuff films, probably. Sorry, Nicolas Cage. This is wonderful. The same guy that's in Devil's Backbone and Open Your Eyes. This is Thesis, and this is a 4K. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. They completely bypassed the Blu-ray and went straight to 4K. Obviously you get the Blu-ray with it as well. Yeah, this is wonderful. It's my favourite film about snuff films. I don't say that very often. And again, my favourite Christopher Smith. And again, a beautiful release. I kind of had to get the collector's edition. I do love this film. I'm not sure quite why, but I do. Triangle. Again, lovely little film with Melissa George. I mean, Melissa George has been two of my favourite films of all time. Triangle and 30 Days of Night. That's the slipcover, strangely enough. Yeah, Triangle, I don't know why I love it so much, but I just do. And then finally, talk about a brick. Wake and Fright, which Eureka is on Eureka Blu-ray, which I have since sold for this brick. And this isn't even the biggest edition they had of Wake and Fright. One of the seminal Australian films, you know, if you were to do like the greatest 10 Australian films of all time, Wake and Fright would have to be in this. Again, the challenge still remains, is there any Australian film that actually makes Australia look like a good place to live? Yeah, as I said, this isn't even the biggest edition for Wake and Fright. There's a t-shirt with a beer glass, a version of the game that is featured in the film. Yeah, here's the slipcover version. Again, this is in 4K, and it looks rather nice in 4K. So you have not just one book, but you have two books, two hardback books, because you actually have the novel as well. And of course you get art cards. So this one you can definitely do some damage. But like I say, this isn't even the deluxe edition. As I said, you get a beer glass with the other version and a t-shirt. Yeah. Some people might think that was a bit excessive. So that's my collection at the moment of Umbrella. So this is, I'm going to show you what I got in the sale. Again, they did 40% off the collector's editions. I mean, what was I supposed to do? You know, it's for research. So they sometimes have like a slipcover edition sale, or a standard edition, or a DVD and Blu-ray edition. So this was, as I say, they're 40% off the collector's editions. So here's what I accidentally picked up. So you get Salute of the Jugger on 4K with Rutger Hauer and Joan Chen. Again, you get a massive book with behind the scenes and art. You actually get rules of the game. You actually get a rule book, and of course you actually get the film as well. I know it's crazy, including the film. And there's Rutger Hauer and Joan Chen. So this has a US cut, The Blood of Heroes, the original work print cut, an audio commentary with the director David Webb Peoples and actor Anna Katrina, audio commentary with filmmakers Aaron McCann and Christian Angel, interviews with cast and crew, deleted scenes, bloopers, Bloodsport, a deeper look into the game of Jugger featurette, and trailers. You also get a poster and the 4K and the Blu-ray. I believe I have seen this once a long time ago. Perhaps in a galaxy far away, I'm not quite sure. But it's been a while. Again, this is available in a slip version as well. But again, 40% off collector's editions. What was I supposed to do? Now I've only seen 3 Sion Sono. One is amazing, Love Exposure. The other 2 were solid. So I've decided to give it another go. This is Suicide Club on 4K. Again, with lovely artwork. And a nice booklet. And again, you get art cards as well. And you get the 4K and the Blu-ray. You get a commentary with cinema scholar Ariel Shudson. Dismembered Limbs and Buckets of Blood, Suicide Club with SFX guru Yoshiro Nishimura, Just Desserts or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love Suicide Club with Alexandra Helen Nicholas. So generally if anything's got Alexandra Helen Nicholas, I tend to have a little look-see because Alexandra Helen Nicholas is wonderful. That's Suicide Club. Another Sion Sono. We'll see if you can get to 2 and 2. At the moment his record's 1 and 2. And another one that I almost bought full price because it just sounds quite wonderful. This is GI Samurai. It's another Sonny Chiba. This is about a group of soldiers from World War II who get transported back to feudal times. So I'm really excited to see this one. As I said, I had to contain myself from buying this full price, but fortunately this came up in the sale. So I mean, look at that. It's Sonny Chiba and a samurai. And you get a poster as well. So you got a commentary with author Patrick Mackless, Jaideki with Tanks, a conversation with GI screenwriter Toshiro Kamata, interview with Sonny Chiba, interview with Isao Natsugi, interview with actors Hiroshito Suzuki and Kamayatsu Monsieur, interview with actors Junito and Isaac Aruzi, interview with tank owner LG Suzuki. Yeah, so really looking forward to seeing GI Samurai. I'm trying to temper my excitement, but really looking forward to this. Then arguably my favourite, Kim Chi-duk. Spring, summer, fall, winter and spring. So this again, this collector's edition went out of print and then is magically back in print. I did have the slipcover edition, which is this, strangely enough. So this has a commentary with Pierce Conran and James Marsh, The Changing Seasons of Man, a video essay by Nadine Whitney, a behind the scenes and interviews with cast and crew, the 2003 premiere, and a trailer. But the extras aren't as important as the film itself, because the film is absolutely beautiful. It still has moments of Kim Chi-duk brutality, as you'd expect, and I just love the colours in the edition, and that's what you want if you're going after a doorstop. And then I've got 4 box sets again, so these worked out, they were almost half price, the box. So what was I supposed to do? Okay, so we've got Ozploitation Rarities Volume 1. Again, look at the artwork, wonderful. So this Volume 1 I think is Little Slashers. Again, you get beautiful little books. So we've got Crosstalk. Again, we've got posters as well. So this is Shooting Hitchcock Down Under, an interview with cinematographer Vincent Monton. Rear Window meets 2001, a visual essay from screenwriter and author Stephen Vagg. Not Quite Hollywood interview with executive producer Ross Matthews. Of course, that's the wonderful documentary about the Australian film industry. Archival interviews with director Mark Edgerton, executive producer and composer. Archival interview with original writer-director conducted by film critic David Strathairn, which is audio only, and a trailer, an extended theatrical trailer. And then we have Final Cut, which looks fun. This is a 2024 audio commentary with producer Mike Williams, moderated by screenwriter Shane Armstrong. Oz Voyeurs, a visual essay from author and TV historian Andrew McCardo, and the Not Quite Hollywood interview with director Ross Dimsey. And again, these are all region free. Then finally, Lady Stay Dead, which looks a lot of fun as well. 2020 interview with actor Chard Hayward, audio only. Not Quite Hollywood interview with Roger Ward. Archival interview with co-producer. And the D.W. Griffith of Ozploitation, a visual essay in the career of filmmaker Terry Burke by film buff Paul Harris. There's a Terry Burke trailer reel and other trailers. So that's volume 1. Again, I'd been tempted by these, but the fact that they were pretty much half price or less than half price. So of course I had to get volume 2. Again, look at those colours. Look at those colours. If you need doors that need stopped, then, you know, these are a must. Wonderful door stops. Again, you get art cards. Another beautiful, really popping colours in these sets. So we get Coda, Symphony of Evil. 2024 commentary with production designer, assistant director and actress Liddy Clark. 2024 interview with cinematographer. 2024 interview with Liddy Clark. Laban's short film, the Jogger short film, and the Craig Laheath trailer reel. I believe Craig Laheath also did Black and White, which I showed earlier. Then we have the 13th Floor, not that one about virtual reality. This is something a little bit different, as you can tell by the pictures at the back. So this has got 2024 commentary by writer-director Chris Roach, 2024 interview with actress Lisa Hensley, Women in Peril, a visual essay by author and TV historian Andrew Mercado, and again, trailer. And then a wonderful cover and title, Desolation Angels. 2024 audio commentary with director Chris Fitchett and cinematographer Ellery Ryan. The Car as Villain in Australian cinema, visual essay by screenwriter and author Stephen Vagg. Aussie car movie trailer reel. Again, how can you not be intrigued? Look at the colours. Wonderful, beautiful. So of course, because I got 1 and 2, I had to get 3, didn't I? So this one is kind of little crime films. And there's some superstars involved in this. Again, look at the colours. I mean, that's Brian Brown. I mean, it doesn't get more iconic than Brian Brown. When you think of Australian cinema, if you don't think of Brian Brown, there's something wrong with you. So we've got The Empty Beach with Brian Brown. So this is a commentary with Brian Brown, producer John Edwards and production designer Larry Eastwood, moderated by Stephen Vagg. Private Eye and Bondi, and that's Bondi, as in Bondi Beach, not bondage. An interview with actor Brian Brown. Winter by the Sea, an interview with actor Anne-Maria Monticelli. Dead Quick, a documentary on author Peter Corris. Mark Hunter, The Empty Beach music video. The Empty Beach storyboards. Brian Brown Aussie trailer reel. And more trailers. Then we have Goodbye Paradise. So it's fun because obviously the first set's more slashers, the second set it's probably more slashers, but the third is more noir. And The Blazing Sun, obviously. Audio commentary with producer Jane Scott, cinematography John Seal and screenwriter Denny Lawrence, moderated by Stephen Vagg. Tandem Dangerous, an interview with actor Grant Dodwell. Paradise in Peril, an interview with director Craig Schultz. Stills Gallery and a TV spot. And then finally Scooby Malone with, again, iconic Jack Thompson. Audio commentary with screenwriter Stephen Vagg and Justin King. Murder at the Opera House, an interview with producer Sue Milliken. Not Quite Hollywood, extended interviews with Jack Thompson, Judy Morris and Victoria Anu. Archival John Cleary interview conducted by screenwriter Stephen Vagg. The Cam Makers short narrative documentary by Terry Olsen, Jack Thompson, Aussie trailer reel, and the High Commissioner trailer. So I'm hoping we'll actually get more of these sets, because again, who doesn't like Australian cult cinema? Well, probably quite a lot of people, but that's not the point. So that's volumes 1 to 3, which again I wouldn't have bought full price, but the fact that they're all literally less than half price in the sale, I kind of had to. And then finally, you saw volume 1 earlier, so here's Extremity Collection volume 2. This is another massive brick, which you could do quite a lot of damage to somebody. Again, hardback book. So this has Bruno Dumont's 29 Palms, which is available elsewhere. I've never actually seen this. I've only seen Quin Quin by Dumont. This has got a commentary with critic Stephen Russell, 2020-22 interview with actor David Wizak, 2004 interview with Bruno Dumont, 2003 interview with producer Rashid Bushareb, making of documentary, I'm Too Dry, My Love, Adrian Patel on relationships and desert politics in Bruno Dumont's 29 Palms, the neurodiverse cinema of Bruno Dumont with Martin Chontero. And then we have In My Skin, which is a film that Radiance released last year, which I absolutely loved. So it's good to get scheme flexibility with another edition. Audio commentary with writer, director and actor Marina Devan, who gives an amazing performance. Audio commentary with Kat Ellinger and Martin Conterio. The Body Canvas, Willow McClay on In My Skin. Exposed Skin 2025 interview with Martina Devan. Marina Devan's short films, Bien Sûr to Rapport and Retention. So I think a couple of those extras will be different from the Radiance ones, I believe. But I'd have to double check. But happy to have this again, because it is a wonderful film. Not for everybody, but it is quite wonderful. Then we've got Fat Girl. So unlike the first volume, where I had seen 3 out of the 4, I've only seen 1 out of the 4 of these. This is Fat Girl. Commentary with Kat Ellinger, an unappealing appetite for sexual maturity, Zoe Rose Smith on Fat Girl, Such Devoted Sisters, Nadine Whitney on sibling rival and sexuality in Fat Girl, and Catherine Breillat's filmography, Aesthetics of Cruelty. Damon Smith interviews Catherine Breillat, who did an Anatomy of Hell in the first volume box set. The Making of Fat Girl, Catherine Breillat sit down Q&A, and Catherine Breillat at the 2001 Berlin Film Festival. And then finally Vincent Cassel and Doberman, which I think I did see like decades ago, but it's been so long. There's quite a lot of special features in this one. Audio commentary by the director and Vincent Cassel and Chet Shikario. Audio commentary by the director, author and screenwriter. Audio commentary with filmmakers Lee Zachariah and Paul Anthony Nelson. Cassel in the Clouds. Guy Davis on the daring high-wire genre work of Vincent Cassel. Shoot the Doberman 2024 interview with the director. Shoot Girl First 2020 interview with cinematographer. Welcome to Reality Baby 2022 interview with visual effects. Making the film featurette, numeric effects featurette with 2 audio commentaries by the supervisor of the MacGuff special effects, Rudolph Chabier. Deleted scenes with introductions by the director, Jean Cunin. Before shooting featurettes with audio commentary by the director. Storyboard and film featurette and trailer. So yes, you also get a poster, obviously. So yes, these Extremity collections are bricks. I said bricks. But as with all these editions, Umbrella puts in a lot of wonderful work. Yes, they're expensive. Yes, you're better off waiting for a sale. But the work they put in is absolutely wonderful. It's almost worth going over to Australia and going to JB Hi-Fi or whatever it's called, and just emptying the shop. But let's not get carried away. So thanks so much for watching. Apologies it's so long, and apologies as I now have enough to build a bungalow out of Umbrella Entertainment collector's editions. But please let me know whether any of these catch your eye, and hopefully you'll join me again for more collection reset videos, because as you can see in the shelves behind me, I've whittled down my collection. So thanks so much for watching. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films saying farewell.